So, yes, we're a little bit late this evening, but nonetheless, we are here. Got a bit of a problem, but I've also got a little bit of a prediction. I know you like predictions, but I think today has been engineered purposely to buy everything on bid. What do I mean by that? Well, we've experienced a big tech wipeout across the board. Nvidia is down more than 1%. That is deemed as a distribution day. And of course, the rest of the gang is also down. Financials are down, but Bitcoin. Shall I do it? Okay. Well. Bitcoin. You know what? I left money on the table today. But I, of course, don't like to be in trades when I'm on the move. I don't like it. I've had the MT4 years where I was trading on the move, and that is just the worst thing you can do. I can't be looking at my phone. I don't have enough details. I need to be seeing things. I closed off my trade, and then Bitcoin was like, no, Tino, not at all. We shall then go forth with the pump. Yes, Bitcoin did do a pump. We have had what is or looks like a disconnect. How many of you guys can go onto X right now and find the people saying that Bitcoin is decoupled from the stock market? Please go on my X, it's Traders Reality, and just tag me on any of those posts that are starting to come up, because we just need to remember, okay? We need to put things into perspective. It's happened before. So just remember, like, there's a lot of ETFs, and we want Bitcoin to go up, ladies and gentlemen, but I actually think that Bitcoin still does have room for more movement. But we do have a problem, and I'm going to address it in tonight's live, all right, because it's going to put things into perspective of where we are across the board. All right, so I'm not going to give you any FUD. I'm just going to give you logic that you can work with, so that once you've got the logic, you can then see a reaction, you trade the reaction, or before you trade the reaction, you ask yourself, do I have permission to take the trade? Marry that logic before you take a trade, ladies and gentlemen, and it will save you a lot of BS that you can experience in this treacherous, formidable game that we call trading. Well, it's the game of speculation, and that's my boy Jesse Livermore. So let's break it all down, give you what flavor you need, and then let you continue about your day. I know some of you are lying in bed. What's this? Excellence. You're going to watch this one from bed. Cool. All right, then. Let's break it down. So stocks, they've taken a very big drop, and this is the problem that I'm going to be addressing. But it comes with a prediction, so please stick with me. 2 days now, stock market has dropped, right? NASDAQ, gold is just being gold, but the NASDAQ itself took a bit of a treacherous move, okay? Earlier on today, the NASDAQ looked like it was trying to formulate some support inside of this range, okay? And at the time that NASDAQ was making a reversal, the volatility index was up 2%. That is a problem. When the VIX is trading positive, that is an issue, especially when the NASDAQ looks like it's trying to trade positive, okay? But let me just draw your attention to something. It says here, sliding tech megacaps drove stocks lower amid an uneventful round of economic data and earnings from big banks, with geopolitical risks keeping a lid on the market while lifting oil and gold. So the first thing you've got to understand is this: when there are geopolitical tensions and there are problems across the world, the one asset class that investors go to is commodities. To back that logic, you go over and you can see that NASDAQ's taken a tumble to the downside. You go over to oil, and it's made a nice move up to come back down to only try and come back up again. Very treacherous. Copper is trading relatively well. We go over to the metals. You've got gold doing nicely and just holding out. And when gold holds like this and the bigger picture of the marketplace is tanking, that is a problem, and it just tells you that they're accumulating, preparing for the next bout of movement to the upside. Silver, being an absolute king, is actually just ripping it to the $94 mark. That is absolutely wild. $100 mark is something that silver is going to end up at. Then platinum is going sideways. Of course, Bank of America did say that if there is a supply issue with platinum, and with platinum, then we could get in a little bit of a problem. And they also mentioned it about palladium, or I think it was palladium. But anyways, either or, metals and oil, commodities are all the place to be. So what else is a commodity? Of course it is Bitcoin. Bitcoin fundamentally is a commodity because there is a supply. But what we've got to be careful of is this. We don't want Bitcoin to behave like a commodity. We really don't. because we don't want Bitcoin to be the asset that goes down when things are good and goes up when things are bad. We want Bitcoin to just keep going up, okay? Now, let me explain to you my trades today. So firstly, for the Platinum members, we had a really good day today over there. We had a projection to see Bitcoin make a move to the upside today. And I shared the trade this morning to the Platinum members in what I did. I did the video. And where is it? Here we go. So this is what I closed it off at. I left money on the table, ladies and gentlemen. $3,820 for that move. Entry was average around 95,094. We had the entry over here at 95,346 because I wanted to see the commitment. So I said I had already entered into the trade inside of this range because they had tested the midpoint of the green vector candle block twice. So those of you that are all about, and we had the test of the 50 EMA, the confluence of the actual Asian session midpoint, and we also had the green vector wick up here, which was all stacking to the idea that we were going to see Bitcoin continue with the narrative to the upside. And the breakout from 95,346 with the projection of 97,811 ended up taking Bitcoin all the way up to 97,927. So we did really well with the TP on that one for Bitcoin, but I left money on the table, man. I was so cheesed off with it, but I had to make a move and we just had to walk away. I also took a quick scalp on the NASDAQ as well. And this is why I use BTCC, because I can exploit that. I can take a nice little trade on NASDAQ. Didn't make too much, but it was a quick reversal, scalped it, and we made a return. And that was whilst Bitcoin was consolidating. All right. So this is why I do use BTCC. But I think the other players as well, like Solana and Ethereum, wanted to see Ethereum clear 3,400 today. And we ended up seeing Ethereum just going to the top side of 3,403 before it reversed. So that was a great little projection right there. And the entry was really good as well. We didn't really see any drawdown, but I said wait for the breakout of 3,315. And then finally, we went over to Solana as well. Wanted to see the breakout towards the red vector candle, 144.87. Huh? No sound? What are you talking about? Of course there's sound. There is sound. What are you talking? Anyways, so Solana, yeah, let's just quickly go and have a look at Solana. Solana really didn't do too much, but it made the reversal to the upside, which is what we wanted to see it do. Didn't quite get the move up. I mean, 148.70, and we ended up getting 148.47. So that's not bad. So those were the setups that we did today for the Platinum members. And of course, if you want to check that out, it's in the description. There is sound. What are you talking about? Take off the little mute button. Anyways, and yeah, so I'm just cheesed off, man. I really should have held that trade with Bitcoin, but I just didn't. But of course, anyway, with regards to this BTCC, anyone that joins with the link above, it's the only place where you can get a 15% deposit bonus, and it says no KYC or VPN required, even if you're from the UK as such. And of course, you do get certain other benefits that are going to be revealed to you as we actually roll them out. So this is exclusive for all Traders Reality people that join on the BTCC. But if you do join, there is going to be certain unlocks that you guys are going to be eligible for. And we're going to be making that announcement very, very soon. So get yourself involved, get that 15%, happy days. But you can trade gold, silver, NASDAQ. You can trade it all on BTCC. Now, what's the topic that I'm going to talk about today? So listen, I've got a prediction. Tomorrow, we have one of the big heavyweights in the tech market about to deliver their earnings results. This is what we're working with. It says here that TSMC likely to post fourth quarter profit leap driven by an AI boom. Now, you know, for the past week or so, I've been talking to you all about the bids and the offers. We understand that when price drops, they're buying, and then when price rises, they're selling. Are we all in agreement that that is the case? I don't understand why you're saying to me, sound check. My sound is fine. Refresh, please. Refresh the stream. Refresh. Yeah? Restart for sound. But you're not going to be... What the hell is all this stuff I'm muffling? What? Lucky you guys can't see that. But anyway, let me just get rid of that, because that is just wild. But anyways, yeah, so TSMC going to post fourth quarter profit driven by AI boom. Now, just quickly going over into it, TSMC, Intel has done really well, but Taiwan Semiconductor stock itself is looking like it's getting ready to do something magnificent. Volume is relatively light, but it is coming in above average in the last few sessions. And when we actually look at this, we can see that we've had quite a number of fund owners. Well, there's only a few that have come off the table, but progressively, they're actually doing really well with their climb to the upside. There is a target profit of around maybe 300 and 383. And if these guys actually come through, then that will make sense to the prediction that I've got. Check this out. If we're going to go by the logic of the bids and the offers, the NASDAQ has taken a nosedive to the downside, and the QQQ itself has actually triggered the 620 zone, and it's doing a good job of trying to hold on to it. This is a call wall, okay? Now, throughout this whole range, okay, they have been sustaining this call wall at 620, all right? That means that there are participants that favor this spot. If the 620 is not confirmed after the earnings results from TSMC, then, ladies and gentlemen, NASDAQ is going to wet the bed. We've got a problem down here with the gap between the 606 and the 603 region on the QQQ. That would then send the NASDAQ to the downside and clearing out this range right here, but more importantly, coming back into this green vector candle region at 25,095. Well, let me just deliver the point to you right now. First things first, let's go over to NVIDIA. What's going on with NVIDIA today? NVIDIA hasn't seen a great day, okay? NVIDIA is pulling back and volume is just completely disappearing. Relative strength across the assets that are in this sector of the electronics semiconductor, you can see that it's just volume is just going down and down and down. This is not sustainable for investors who are in the idea that they want to pick up stock. The actual relative strength, or the average, needs to be higher. If the average of volume is not higher as a stock is making highs or heading towards an all-time high, we've got ourselves a bit of a problem, especially given that this is a $4.4 trillion market cap with Google on its way to surpass the 4 trillion mark. You can appreciate, already has, but you can appreciate that if the volume's not coming into play, then big tech is more than likely going to put pressure on the market. But why is that the case? Well, it's this, and you hear me talking about it all the time. It's your interest rates. The speculation is that they're not going to cut, all right? 95%, they're keeping the rates as is. So if the yields are going to stay higher for longer, what does that mean? Well, it means I need to just stay in my dollars. Go over to the dollar, and you can see that dollar dominance right now. Where are we at? Where's our dollar dominance? Dollar dominance is doing fantastic. We're getting close towards that 99 mark. We surpassed 99, then we've got a good chance of getting back up above 100. Let's go over to dollar yen. Where are we at with dollar yen? Dollar yen. Coming into a very interesting zone. We've been looking forward to that. 159, 160 is what we're looking for, ladies and gentlemen, before we get a little bit of Forex intervention. And for all my carry traders, the people that are like, yeah, you said the carry trade online was going to happen. It didn't happen. It went down. It went up. Shut up. All right. You never knew about the carry trade for anything. The only thing that you were carrying was your milk. All right. So listen. All right. The carry trade unwind is going to work on the principle once Forex, foreign exchange, hits an extreme. Even the Japanese diplomat finance minister today said that there is no reason as to why the yen has gone down so much. It's like they're saying they don't know. So they're like, what's going on? If the yen is going down so aggressively, yet the dollar is not moving up aggressively, someone is loading up on yen. Okay? Where's your boy Warren? Forex intervention and, of course, Forex volatility levels, extremes, is what triggers the carry. Well, 23rd of January, we're going to be hearing from our good old Bank of Japan with the prospect that they could actually be hiking the rates again with an end goal of 1.25%. So we already know that money is going to be expensive with Japan, so yields are going to be higher on the yield on the Japanese yen, so investors are going to go over to the yen. Well, let's just go over and have a look at the yields on the yen. Well, we got the 10-year the 10-year yield on the yen is 2.186. The reason why they're allowing this to go up so much is because second they come out with the rate hike again, this is going to sink. It really is. Historically, when you go back and look at how this happens and how it works, for every time they actually increase their interest rates, they sink. The yields sink. Okay, it goes up and then it just sinks to the downside. That's effectively what we're looking for when it comes to the carry trade. But this right here is absolutely hurting the Japanese, because if they don't hike the rates more, they're not able to generate any more income interest for people. When they increased the interest rates this time round, they were able to generate 160 billion yen income interest for households. So they've effectively bought themselves a bit of time to get money put back into the system as such. But now that the yield on the 10-year is going up, it means that investors are seeking a higher rate of return. You need to increase the rates again to encourage them to buy the bond. Okay? So let's just put the logic together. If the big tech guys do not deliver in tomorrow's TSMC results, and it does not enough for the tech boys to start buying up everything, okay, and the idea is that today has been a markdown to bring it all back up on the result of TSMC's earnings, then ladies and gentlemen, it's clear as day that tech is going to be the one that brings everything down. A bearish market, quite frankly, starts when we've seen everything correct 20%. 20% is not a problem, guys. That's consistent. That's healthy. We need to see the 20%. And big tech has corrected aggressively, okay? Now, the fact that Bitcoin has been moving up so aggressively, we've got to now pay attention to certain levels in Bitcoin. But when the dust settles, does that mean Bitcoin's going to come down? Because the disconnect that's happened between Bitcoin and the stock market is formidable. Look at it. So Bitcoin has been in this long accumulation range, and it's now done a good job. Let's just quickly go over to the daily time frame to put it into perspective. The daily time frame now shows the price. What did I say to you guys on the day? Right, what I want you to do is go over to the Monday, the 5th of January. And it just, when I mention this, please take it, because when I explain it, it's all logic, okay? On the 5th of January, I did a live stream, and I said, now that we've got this blue vector candle, wait for the retrace and the proof of the move. There it is. They came in green vector, and then they've just pumped price to the upside. Looking at Bitcoin, you can see that we do look like we're getting primed towards the 100K mark, and that is obvious, okay? But what we got to be careful of is this. If Bitcoin's going up now, is it going up because everybody wants Bitcoin, or is it because everybody is seeking commodities? Is this what Bitcoin is for? Is it because people are scared and they're going over into a commodity where there's less? So naturally, when investors are concerned about something, if there is a sample or a sizable amount of Bitcoin that is available, but there is a limit to that, is that what's going to force investors to go over to Bitcoin? Would you be in agreement with me if I said that Bitcoin only fundamentally works when the shit hits the fan? Are you cool with that? Would you be happy to appreciate and accept that Bitcoin is just a commodity, and when things are bad, Bitcoin goes up? When things are good, Bitcoin goes down? Because when the NASDAQ cleared its all-time high several times, Bitcoin was going down, down, down. Is Bitcoin acting like a commodity? Do not confuse the decoupling. Don't confuse it. Because if it was a decouple, Bitcoin should have been continuously going up as NASDAQ kept on going down. Okay? But NASDAQ was being brought down, Bitcoin was being brought down, and Bitcoin has moved up with 2 candles, and now everybody's like, woo, Bitcoin, right? I'm just giving you logic and truth from what we're seeing. We know interest rates are going to be higher for longer. Tech market doesn't like that because the cost of business is going to be higher, okay? That means that the appreciation of the dollar can actually go up. That means investors might be rotating out of euros going into dollars, okay? Now, when we start seeing everybody rotating into dollars, now be a good time to sell their stock, because as they sell their stock, they'll be getting a better appreciation on their dollar. So then that means that when we do know where we are with the interest rates being cut, we now have ourselves quite a healthy sum of dollars that are strong, which means that when everything is taking a sink to the downside because they're keeping the interest rates high, then that means that when they do start to cut the interest rates, guess what? You've got strong dollars. And if the dollar ends up going above 100 and then surpasses that and goes to like 104, then you've got 4% appreciation on your dollar. Iran's foreign minister on Fox News, when asked about protests, there is no plan for hanging at all. There's your geopolitical event, ladies and gentlemen. So it's all happening. But do you understand what I'm trying to say and convey to you all about what Bitcoin is? Is it safe to assume that it's just behaving like a commodity? If you add it all up, gold is up, oil is up, okay, palladium, platinum, right, silver, Bitcoin. What's down? NASDAQ. All right, foreign exchanges, euro is down, the yen is down, all right? You're starting to see a change in the way things are going, all right? So just take that with a pinch of salt, ladies and gentlemen. When you do think about buying Bitcoin, if the market always ends up coming back to its normal value and higher, then we've got ourselves a problem if Bitcoin starts to behave as a commodity and is only purchased during times of fear. We don't want people. We want people to buy in times of fear, but we also want people to stay in Bitcoin when things are good. Because if Bitcoin maintains this relationship of behaving like a commodity, then of course you call it the hedge against inflation. But then what happens when inflation is done? What are you going to do with Bitcoin? You can sell it. You're going to go over to assets and put your dollars to power. Get the purchasing power of the dollar and put it to work. I might be just talking shit right now. But tell me that it hasn't crossed your mind, right? Gold is up, Bitcoin is up, Euro is down, Yen is down, dollar is slightly up. The NASDAQ stock market is down. But Bitcoin is up. In my opinion, it's not decoupling, it's just Bitcoin reacting to geopolitical events that will end. I might be wrong. I might be wrong. But anyway. Any further questions? Further questions? What a clown. Should I buy silver here in your opinion? No. Right, listen, let me explain something to you. Everyone is asking me the question as well, like, should we be buying silver at these levels? Quite frankly, no. You don't really want to be buying silver, but silver could easily go above 100. What, so you're going to cuss at me for saying don't buy silver because it moved up $5 or $8, whatever, not $10. When I was screaming at you all to buy silver when it was $19, no one gave a shit. Some of you did. And you'd be sat on bank right now. All right? Sat on bank. We're all sat on bank. Very well with silver. Okay? Silver is the best trade for me. It really is. Just go back to the live stream when it was $19 back in December 2023. Go back to those live streams. I remember those live streams. Buy silver, ladies and gentlemen. And I was giving you a $50 price projection. Now it's at 93, 91. Wow. Brilliant. What's this? Ain't ever seen Tino like this. He's lost big today. It's the only time I've seen him ignoring live data. Huh? I didn't lose big. I missed out on more money, yeah. That's not a loss. That's a $3,820 gain. Anyways, never mind. Should we expect Bitcoin to push the daily 200 EMA? Should we expect Bitcoin to push? Listen, the volatility of Bitcoin going to 200 EMA, right? You've got to understand that this is a macro-driven environment. Tomorrow, what have you got? Tomorrow, you have got the unemployment claims data, okay? And what the hell is going on with this? They're putting it as 4:30. It's not. Ignore Forex Factory. Something's going off with these guys. They're putting it at 4:30. It's not 4:30. It comes out at 1:30. Anyway, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard. So tomorrow's unemployment claims, and they're expecting it to come in higher. Don't trust the unemployment claims because the data itself is just cooked. Look at it. Positive up and down when they're expecting it to be lower. It's not really got a clear directive, okay? But realistically, it's all for next week. That's what it's all about. We've had the CPI data, and it's not done anything for the market to encourage rate cuts. But we're going into the Bank of Japan outlook. We've got unemployment claims again, and we've got the final GDP quarter on quarter, which is going to be very interesting to know if the GDP has expanded. Look at the last reading, came in at 4.3%. All right? Can you imagine if it comes in higher? But the thing that's causing the marketplace to be like this, guys, is this Supreme Court hearing about the tariffs. Okay? Just remember, like, once, whatever the result is, when it comes out, the market is going to react. And the worst thing is they're not giving us a timeline on when. They moved it again today. They said, no, we're not doing anything about it today. We're not going to let anybody know. That really does cause the market to be in a bit of a situation. All right? So just be careful. So to break it all down for you, ladies and gentlemen, quite frankly, we've got big tech that is selling quite a bit. And when big tech starts to sell, the leaders of today are going to be the losers for tomorrow, basically. And in other words, what else is going to transition or could create the next NVIDIA or the next Google or the next Microsoft? I don't mean by technology. I mean by market cap, okay? Because if all the money's been made in Google, NVIDIA, and Microsoft, all those investors are going to want to go on to the next best thing. And that's going to be the companies that are supplying small molecular nuclear power. Why? Because we're going into data centers and they need a lot of power to operate. So maybe some of those companies, maybe defense-based stocks are going to be something that comes into play. All right. Because we've got lots of wars happening and, we need contracts to go out from the US government so they can put all that money to work, given that the spending has just been increased by $1 trillion. Awesome. And on top of that, your deficits have increased even further. So where on earth are you getting this money? Never mind. But with that being said, with Bitcoin, remember, if things are bad and Bitcoin's going up, it behaves like a commodity. It doesn't serve us for Bitcoin to behave like a commodity. Not at all. Why? Because it means that only bad times we make money. What about the good times? And we do not want that. We really need Bitcoin to just keep moving up, whether the times are good or bad. And if big tech is drawing prices down and then Bitcoin is still going up, the fact that it's kind of dismissing what's going on. I mean, if we just put it into perspective with regards to the ETF, investors are more than likely watching this story that Bitcoin is going up, and we haven't had really any sales on the Bitcoin ETF. The last one was done 2 days ago. The earliest one from that was 12 hours, and the latest one was 6 hours. So they haven't really been selling too much, and it's still above the balance of 700,000. So we're still good with the Bitcoin ETF, all right? Which means that, quite frankly as well, they're not going to sell the Bitcoin when it's dropping. They're going to sell it when it's rising, okay? So if we are going to see them sell the Bitcoin and it continues with the narrative higher, then clearing 100K, there would need to be a strong commitment. I don't think Bitcoin is going to do anything unless, or beyond the all-time high, unless it can actually clear 107,659. If it can't clear 107,659, then there's no point. What is that price point? It's the last area of consolidation on the retrace up before they continued lower. If they can surpass that point, you've got a red vector region right there that they can find in terms of a support mechanism, because this is where the bids had collectively come into play on Bitcoin. So realistically, if you are in net longs on Bitcoin spot-wise and it runs up all the way up to towards 104, 106, take something off the table in case Bitcoin does come back to reality and rolls back down again and the stock market goes up. All right? So please take that into consideration, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, with that being said, mad love and respect. Remember, check out the link above, BTCC, to join that, and the Platinum membership if you want to check out the trade setups and what have you. But other than that, I'll be checking in with you all tomorrow. Take care of yourselves, gang. Mad love and respect.